Test. Test. All right. All right. So we are live with our first ever non NWC card in my NWC universe. We're going to be running Bluegrass Wrestling's inaugural card here in year 6, month 2. For those of you who are unaware, Bluegrass Wrestling is sort of the first territory, I guess. It was founded by Ed Lewis after he had a falling out with the National Wrestling Commission. The National Wrestling Commission is open to working with them, and Ed Lewis is open to working with the National Wrestling Commission, but it's still early, so nothing has been really set up. Lewis did issue a press statement that I will read out. He got in touch with Ring Sports News, and then they released this little article here. It says, Ed Lewis announces card for Bluegrass Wrestling. Earlier today, Ed Lewis issued a statement to Ring Sports News announcing the lineup for the first ever card to be held by his Kentucky-based promotion, Bluegrass Wrestling. Making their debut on this card are 3 promising wrestlers who have decided to sign on to wrestle exclusively with Lewis and Bluegrass Wrestling: Stu Hart, Frank Hickey, and Sputnik Monroe. The trio of wrestlers are the first since the inception of the NBBW, the National Bureau of Boxing and Wrestling, in 1905 to debut without being nationally licensed. Also on this card are some defects from the National Wrestling Commission: Ray Steele, Bronko Nagurski, Santel, Billy Sandow, and George Tragos. All of these wrestlers have agreed to work exclusively for Lewis and Bluegrass Wrestling. The NWC is open to licensing or renewing the license of any of these wrestlers should they desire to compete for NWC titles. But so far, none of the debuting wrestlers have applied. Lewis gave the opening card as follows. Sputnik Monroe and Frank Hickey will both make their debut in a match facing one another. Stu Hart will face off against Santel. Bronko Nagurski will face off against Ray Steele. George Tragos will face Billy Sandow. And in a non-title 2 out of 3 falls match, Ed Lewis will face off against NWC World's Heavyweight Champion Thesz. So that is the card. Lewis says he plans to introduce regional championships, but at the current time has not done so, and so no championships will be on the line during the initial event. And that is what's going on with Ed Lewis's Bluegrass Wrestling, and we will get to the program and start up some matches here. Create match card. We want to load the event. Bluegrass Wrestling. And I have these in a slightly different order here. So Monroe and Frank Hickey are going to start us out, and we'll go from there. So the Bluegrass Wrestling is coming live from Jefferson County Armory in Louisville, Kentucky. This is February 10th of year 6. So second month of year 6. And we are going to go ahead and run the first match. Let's roll for initiative here. Sputnik Monroe rolls a 9. Spaceman Frank Hickey rolls a 7. So Monroe wins the opening lockup and takes control of the match. And he locks Frank Hickey in an arm wringer. And Hickey is hurt as Monroe clubs across the back of Frank Hickey, still holding on to that arm. And Hickey falls to the mat. Michael Brada is with us. Thank you for joining us. The Spaceman, yep. The Spaceman Frank Hickey making his debut here against the also debuting Sputnik Monroe. And Monroe has got Hickey down. And Monroe grabs Hickey up and nails an atomic drop. Spaceman Frank Hickey in trouble here. The atomic drop hurts him, and Monroe nails him with a running knee lift as he gets back to his feet. And that puts Frank Hickey right back to the mat as Sputnik Monroe is in control. A big pile driver. And Hickey is being covered here by Sputnik Monroe. Hickey needs a 4 or better to kick out. Let's see what he rolls. And with a roll of 8, he is able to kick out. But Monroe strikes first and strikes hard. Monroe throwing Hickey out of the ring. And now, Sputnik Monroe doesn't follow him out, waits for Hickey to get back in, but is immediately on the attack, body slamming Hickey to the mat. And Hickey's hurt as Monroe picks him back up as they're still near the ropes, drapes his throat across the rope and chokes him across the top rope. Sputnik Monroe springs him off the rope. He's going for the cover. This is a target is 5, and the roll is a 5. So just like that, very quickly, Sputnik Monroe has dispatched Spaceman Frank Hickey in our opening Bluegrass Wrestling match. Definitely not what I expected. Hoping for a better match, but Monroe is just a dominant performer here, and Hickey couldn't handle it. I would like to record the outcome of the match. Thank you very much. Sputnik Monroe beat Frank Hickey with a choke that was a 1-star match. Monroe has 0 and Hickey has 2. Alright, so now we can go back in order here. Now our next match is going to pit Stu Hart, who is making his debut here, against Santel. Santel hasn't had a ton of success in the National Wrestling Commission, commanding, I believe, a 5-15 record. So he jumped ship over to Ed Lewis's Bluegrass Wrestling to try to sort of reinvent himself. Let's roll for the initiative and see what happens. And Hart with an 8, and Santel with an 8. So they lock up and then drop the lockup and stare each other down. Definitely things are intense here. Stu Hart with an 11 and Santel with a 6. Because of the tied lockup roll, he is rolling on level 2 offense after winning the second grapple, or the second lockup. And Hart starts us off with a face lock on Santel. Santel pops his head out with ease and takes Hart down with a reverse toe hold. And Stu Hart is hurt as Santel with a standing headlock takedown on Stu Hart. Hart hurt once again as Santel wrenches that headlock as they get back up, and Santel takes him down again with ease. Santel just throwing him around. And Stu Hart is dazed. Santel with a back heel trip on Stu Hart. And Stu Hart is dazed once again. And Santel with a waistlock takedown on Stu Hart. And this is a power move, and Stu Hart does have the power, so that is not going to work. Neil Lau is with us in the chat. Howdy, Neil. And Stu Hart drives a punch to the gut on Santel. This is a choice A maneuver. So a level 2 move on rolls of 9 or better, or he's going to push him into the ropes. We're going to do the 9 or better. And with a roll of 6, he is successful, driving that punch to the gut on Santel. And Santel is hurt as Stu Hart grabs the sleeper hold. And he squeezes Santel until Santel can no longer stand. Stu Hart definitely in control here. Hart is going to pitch Santel out of the ring. And Santel grabs the legs of Hart and pulls him out of the ring. And a brawl erupts. Santel smashes Hart into the ring apron, and the referee is none too happy. We're going to see a disqualification roll here. And Santel, just like that, has been disqualified. He used the ring apron against Stu Hart, and that is not legal. To use parts of the ring as a weapon. So, add Santel disqualified by Bluegrass Wrestling officials, and Stu Hart takes this in a very controversial manner. Definitely not what we wanted to see. First two matches have been kind of a letdown here for Ed Lewis's Bluegrass Wrestling. Stu Hart beat Ed Santel by DQ when Santel slammed Hart back first into the ring apron. And we're going to call that a dud. Hart had no fatigue. Santel had no fatigue. Just not a particularly good match. The dice be like that sometimes, though. And Pops Reviews is here. Howdy, Pops. How you doing? And we're going to get on to our next match, which is going to see Ray Steele take on Bronko Nagurski. And Steele and Nagurski, both National Wrestling Commission defectors, I guess. Santel knew he couldn't out-wrestle Stu. He might have been able to, legitimately, but that would be a good way to explain why he went to the apron and the illegal moves. So Steele rolls with 4 on the initiative roll, and Nagurski an 11, so Nagurski takes it. Santel was a legitimately dangerous dude. Probably on the level of Stu Hart, all things considered. And Nagurski takes the initiative roll, the lockup. And Nagurski with a forearm smash on Ray Steele. Steele is hurt by that forearm smash. And Nagurski scoops him up. Big power slam coming up here. Will it be a level 2 power slam or a level 3 power slam? We'll have to figure that out. It's going to be whatever the power is. So it's going to be a level 3 power slam. He needs a roll of 8 or less to succeed here. And with a roll of 11, Ray Steele is able to slip out and take control of the fight. And Steele grabs up Bronko Nagurski with a driving double leg takedown. And Nagurski is dazed as Steele is on the attack. A power attack by Ray Steele. That's not going to work, as Nagurski not going up, able to use his superior power to block that body slam attempt by Ray Steele. And now Bronko Nagurski with a Japanese arm twist. And that's going to hurt Ray Steele as Nagurski wrenches that arm twist. And Steele is in trouble. Steele is hurt as Nagurski won't let go of the arm. He's still twisting away here. And that finally has Steele howling. And Steele's going to be rolling his pin. It's a 5-2, so he's target is 2, and the roll is an 8. Steele has been released as he grabs the ropes, and Nagurski goes back into an attack here. Nagurski going to throw Steele out of the ring. And Steele gets back in. Nagurski doesn't attack him while he's outside, but is quick to move in as soon as he gets back in. And we're going to see that power slam attempt again. This is going to be 8 or less. And with a roll of 5, it is successful. And Steele is hurt by the power slam. As Steele gets back to his feet, Nagurski grabs that Japanese arm twist one more time. Ray Steele is down. He's not going to leave the ring. He's got a C ring rating, so gonna try to stick it out here. And maybe he should have left the ring as Bronko Nagurski transitions from that Japanese arm twist, trips him down, and locks in the modified crab submission. This is a +2 finisher. So the target is going to be 5, and the roll is a 6. So Steele able to get to the ropes one more time and save himself, but eats another fatigue token as the match continues. Bronko Nagurski gonna pitch Steele out of the ring again, and Ray Steele going to go the way of Santel here, grabbing Nagurski under the bottom rope and pulls him out, slamming him into the ring apron just like Santel did. The target is 3 on the DQ roll, and he rolls a 7, so he is not disqualified. Steele rolls Nagurski back into the ring and continues his attack here with a hammerlock takedown. Nagurski is hurt, and Ray Steele lets him back up and then takes him back down with a driving double leg, but Nagurski able to move out of the way. Nagurski with an over-the-shoulder arm breaker on Ray Steele, and Steele drops to the mat clutching his arm. And Bronko Nagurski once again locks him in that modified crab submission. This is a +2 submission move, so that's going to make the target 6, and the roll is a 10, so Steele eats another fatigue token, but saves himself from submitting. And Nagurski pulls him right back into the center of the ring and relocks on that modified crab submission. Target is 7, and the roll is a 7. So another quick match here as Bronko Nagurski picks up a win over Ray Steele with that modified crab submission. And we've got Nagurski beat Steele with the modified crab submission. Steele had 4, so that's 2. Steele 4. Nagurski had 0. And there we go. Next Saturday for what? Next Saturday you'll use Ray Steele. Steele's a fun card. One of those guys that eventually I want to get done with some real artwork, but he's kind of low on the list. There's a bunch of guys that I'd rather pay for to have real artwork done for, so. But I enjoy the Ray Steele card. And our next match is going to be George Tragos versus Billy Sandow. Both of these guys have been, the convention. I just realized what you were talking about. Hope to see you guys next Saturday at the convention, says Pops Reviews. Yeah, I'll be there. I bought my tickets like as soon as it was announced because I ain't got nothing better to be doing. I'm a homebody. I don't enjoy going out and doing things with people, so I'll be there. But yeah, we got George Tragos and Billy Sandow next. Both of these guys defected from the National Wrestling Commission when Lewis announced his promotion. Michael Brada says Lewis must be paying for the rental of the building by the hour. Yeah, he's apparently he's told these guys to wrap it up. He's got that playing them off music going over the house PA or whatever, just constantly. Billy is good in my Fed, says Neil. Yeah, Billy Sandow's been pretty solid. I think he's in the top 5 or 6 for junior heavyweights in the National Wrestling Commission as well. He had a title shot against William Muldoon, the NWC World's Junior Heavyweight Champion, but no one can beat William Muldoon, so I'm convinced he's going to retire as the champion, essentially. All right, so Tragos and Sandow. Let's roll for initiative here. And on the opening lockup, Billy Sandow takes it. Sandow backs Tragos into the ropes. And Tragos able to flip it around and takes control on Billy Sandow. And Tragos with that double leg Nelson. This is a choice F maneuver. Level 3 on power, which makes sense. So 9 or less. And with a roll of 8, Tragos is successful with a level 3 double leg Nelson. And Sandow is down. And now George Tragos with a step over toe hold face lock, the STF. And Sandow rolling his pin. The target is 1, so this is a ceremonial pin roll. We'll take the first one, which was a 7. And we'll add 1 total. And Tragos on the attack. Another double leg Nelson. He's got to roll 9 or less. And with a roll of 8, he is successful. And Sandow is down. Sandow going to roll out of the ring. And he grabs Tragos out. And they brawl on the outside of the ring. Sandow drives into him, picks him up with a single leg, and kind of slams him over to the side, back first on the concrete, as Sandow rolls back into the ring. And Tragos is rolling his count out here. And the target is 4, the roll is a 10, so Tragos is able to get back into the ring. But he is in trouble now, as that move on the outside really hurt. JT 2.0 just joined us in the chat. Welcome. And now Billy Sandow grabs a bear hug on George Tragos. The target is going to be 5, as this is a level 0 finisher. And the roll is an 8, so Tragos gets another fatigue. Sandow continues his attack with a fishhook suplex. And George Tragos is down. Not going to leave the ring. He's got a C ring rating, so... And Billy Sandow grabs him in a headlock and takes him down. As Tragos is hurt, Billy Sandow transitions from that headlock to a wrist lock. And Tragos not able to do much with it. And Sandow moves from the wrist lock to a waist lock and is attempting to suplex him over. And this is a choice D maneuver, which means that it's going to be a level 2 move on agility or a level 3 move on power. We're going to use the power because Tragos has a +2. So that's going to be on rolls of 10 or less. And with a roll of 8, Sandow is successful with a level 3 waistlock suplex. And that put Tragos down. Tragos is being covered by Billy Sandow here after the waistlock suplex. The target is a 6, and the roll is a 7. So Tragos just barely able to get a shoulder up. And Sandow continues his attack with a big headlock takedown. Tragos is still down. And Sandow wrenches that headlock after taking him down. And Tragos is hurt. Sandow lets him back up, transitions into an armbar. And backs him into the turnbuckle. And Tragos able to spin it around and really drive Sandow into the buckle before they got there. Sandow is hurt as he went back first into that turnbuckle with Tragos driving him there. And Tragos is now on the attack. Tragos not going to throw Sandow out of the ring. He's going to grab him up out of the turnbuckle, pick him up with a double leg, and slam him to the mat. And Sandow able to grab a front face lock on that takedown and kind of squeeze Tragos. And as they get up, Sandow is the better of the two. Sandow locks in a body scissors. And Tragos is down as Sandow pitches him out of the ring again. And Sandow backs off, lets the referee administer the count. Tragos gets back in. And Sandow is quick to re-engage and attack him. Sandow locks in a body scissors now. And Tragos rolling his pin as the body scissors putting the shoulders to the mat of George Tragos. Oh, that should have been a pin. And the target is 7. And the roll is a 7. So Billy Sandow with the body scissors has beaten George Tragos. And I forgot to add 1, so Tragos has 4. Billy Sandow beats George Tragos with a body scissors pinfall. That 4, 5, so 2.5 stars. Tragos has 4 fatigue. Sandow has 1 fatigue. And we're on to the main event. This is a 2 out of 3 falls event, which sees NWC World's Heavyweight Champion Thesz in a non-title 2 out of 3 falls match against Bluegrass Wrestling's figurehead, I guess you would call him, Strangler Ed Lewis. So let's run this one. We're going to remove the title. It's not at stake. And we're going to start the match. And Lewis and Thesz, 2 out of 3 falls here as they lock up. Thesz rolls an 11. Lewis with a 6. So Thesz takes the lockup here. And Thesz going to back Lewis into the ropes. And Lewis can't do much with it. Thesz can't do much with it. The referee breaks him up, and Thesz is quick to move back into control here. As Thesz grabs up Ed Lewis, picks him up and slams him to the mat. And Lewis is hurt. Thesz scoops him up again, this time spinning him around and around in that airplane spin. And he dumps him to the mat and goes for the cover. Thesz has disoriented Ed Lewis enough for a pinfall, but will it be successful? The target is going to be 2, and the roll is a 4. Thesz continues his attack. As Lewis stands up, he jumps on him with the Thesz press. This is a +2 finisher. So the target is now 5, and the roll is a 7. Thesz continues his attack here, spinning him around as they get back up and nailing him with a Greco-Roman backdrop. This is a +2 move as well, so the target is 6, and the roll is a 9. Thesz really trying to crush Ed Lewis here early. Locking on a step over toe hold face lock, the STF. And Lewis is hurt. And Thesz with a choice C hammer lock here. A level 3 on agility or a level 2 on power. Agility is Lewis's lower rating, so that's what we're going to go for. It's still going to be 5 or less, so. And with a roll of 4, he is successful. So a level 3 hammerlock applied to Ed Lewis, and Lewis has got nowhere to go. He can't escape. Lewis is going to possibly submit here. Target is 5, roll is a 7, so Lewis does not submit, but Thesz on the attack here. Thesz locks Lewis in a double wrist lock. Lewis is hurt. Thesz throws up some drop kicks at Ed Lewis. Ed Lewis is down. He's going to roll out of the ring. And Thesz comes out. He's annoyed that Lewis left the ring. Thesz shoves Lewis into the crowd. That is not acceptable. The referee yelling at Thesz, going to possibly disqualify him. Nope. Target was 4, roll is a 7, so Thesz is not disqualified. Lewis trips over chairs and spectators, and he's kind of crawling back in. Thesz grabs him up and throws him back into the ring as Thesz gets back in as well. And Thesz is on the attack. Thesz not going to throw him out of the ring. Instead, he's going to scoop him up with that airplane spin. And Lewis is hurt. And Thesz continues to spin him round and round as Lewis is still hurt. And more airplane spins. He's just been spinning him over and over and over again. This has got to be affecting Thesz at this point. And he finally dumps him down to the mat as Lewis is very disoriented. Thesz continues his attack, though, locking on a double wrist lock. And that's going to allow Lewis to reach the ropes and roll himself out of the ring again. And Thesz this time backs off, remembering that the referee admonished him the last time he left the ring. And so he backs off, lets Lewis take the count and get back into the ring on his own, and is quick to jump back on the attack as soon as Lewis steps through the ropes. And Thesz throws some drop kicks at the Strangler. And the Strangler Lewis is hurt. as Thesz drop kicks him some more. And Lewis to the mat. Those drop kicks connected solidly as Thesz picks him up with a release power bomb. This is a level or a choice D maneuver, so it's going to be a 2 on agility or a 3 on power. I think we're gonna try the power. It's gonna work on 6 or less. And with a roll of 6, it is successful. So a level 3 release power bomb on Strangler Ed Lewis. And Lewis is hurt. Carl, do you play with the regular charts or the special old-time charts for the older wrestlers? Right now I'm using the vintage charts, except for Death Jump, because there's no vintage Death Jump chart. But yeah, I use all of the choices and things. Although I don't have the flavor text, they're all everything is based on the vintage charts for this particular match. I will mix it up sometimes, like if the Deucex or like Dirty Dick Reigns or Bull Curry is in a match, I'll use the older Into the Ropes and Into the Turnbuckle charts, but I might use like the normal Out of the Ring chart, that sort of thing. It just depends on who's in the match, really. My application makes it really easy to switch charts, so I just kind of pick them when I book the match, and everything is good to go. And Lewis is hurt by that release by that release power bomb. And Thesz is on the attack again as he punches Lewis in the ribs. Lewis is hurt. I don't think Ed Lewis has had any offense in this entire match as Thesz grabs another hammerlock. Level 3, that's going to be 5 or less. And with a roll of 5, he is successful. Lewis just cannot catch a break here as Lou Thesz just tearing him down and ripping him apart. Ed Lewis is down as Thesz continues his attack with another Greco-Roman backdrop. This is a +2 maneuver, or a +2 finisher, so we've got a target of 8 and a roll of 3. So that is going to be fall 1. Lou Thesz is going to take fall 1 with a Greco-Roman backdrop. And they are going to start up again. There's going to be a slight intermission, a rest period here for them. As their corner people tend to them, and they take a breather. That was a rough fall for Strangler Ed Lewis. He definitely got manhandled by Lou Thesz. Like I said, I don't think he had any offense that entire match. If I go back down, yeah, maybe a tiny bit at the very beginning. No, none. Ed Lewis just basically got crushed. Ed Lewis got into the bluegrass bourbon a little too much before the match. By all accounts of Ed Lewis, he was into the bluegrass bourbon pretty much all the time. Kind of a prolific drinker. But yeah, something was up. He did not do as well as expected there. All right, so in fall 2, everybody gets a fatigue reduction of 1, unless you're like Lou Thesz and you have no fatigue. So Lewis drops down to 4, and we're going to roll for initiative. And Thesz takes it on the roll. So Thesz wins the lockup here. A forearm shot off the lockup by Lou Thesz. And Lewis able to counter that finally. Lewis might be getting some offense here with a big single leg on Lou Thesz. Thesz is hurt as Lewis backs him into the turnbuckle here. And Thesz has an A turnbuckle rating, so that is not great for Lewis. But Lewis able to back him into the turnbuckle and then take a cheap shot as he clubs Thesz across the bridge of the nose with a big forearm elbow strike. And Thesz, definitely feeling that. He may have even broke his nose there, as Thesz on the defensive here. Down 3. And Lewis now on the attack, tossing Thesz out of the ring. And Thesz lands awkwardly, twists his ankle here as he falls out of the ring. And Ed Lewis is now really on the attack. Lewis with a step over toe hold. This is a choice F. So it's level 2 on agility, or level 3 on power. So we're going to go for the power. He needs a 5 or less. And with a roll of 3, Lewis is successful with that step over toe hold. And now Thesz is hurt, but he's got a chance at a comeback here. This is the roll 2 die. On 10 or 12, Thesz blocks the opponent's move and hits the Greco-Roman backdrop at level 0. So we're going to roll 2 dice, and he is unsuccessful, so he is just hurt. And Lewis now locks on a grapevine and throws Thesz to the mat. Thesz able to roll through with it and gets back to his feet and takes it to Ed Lewis, backing him into the turnbuckle. And now Thesz, definitely the more aggressive of the two in the turnbuckle, able to get it going. And Thesz is on the attack with a big step over toe hold face lock. Lewis is hurt. And now a double leg pickup to slam by Thesz. And Ed Lewis, not going up, drives an elbow right into the back of Thesz as he tries to pick him up. And Lewis blasts him with some rabbit punches here. And Thesz is hurt. Now Ed Lewis, grapevine and throw on Thesz. Thesz is hurt once again, as Lewis grabs a neck yoke and wrenches away on Thesz. Thesz is hurting as Lewis transitions from the neck to the wrist as he locks in a double wrist lock on Thesz. Thesz once again is hurt, but he has the opportunity to counter here with a roll of 80 is unsuccessful. So Lewis will continue his attack with a jackknife arm scissors out of that double wrist lock. And Thesz is hurt. Lewis continues to apply pressure to the jackknife arm scissors on Thesz. Thesz is dazed as Lewis drops some rabbit punches on Thesz. And Thesz is dazed still as Lewis drops some more rabbit punches. And Thesz in trouble here as Lewis transitions from the jackknife arm scissors that he just had on him to another double wrist lock. And Thesz is hurt as he transitions back into those jackknife arm scissors on Thesz. Thesz is hurt still, and back to the double wrist lock. So he's really working the arms of Thesz here. Thesz is hurt. Alright, no, Thesz is down, excuse me. Has the opportunity to leave the ring. He's the world champion. He's not going to do that. He's going to continue to fight. Except that Ed Lewis is going to throw him out of the ring. So, and Thesz meets Lewis as Lewis comes out of the ring. And he clips Lewis down and just stomps him out of the ring. The referee is trying to break it up. Thesz shoves the referee and continues to stomp on Ed Lewis. This is going to be a DQ roll here. Target is 4. The roll is a 6, so no disqualification of Thesz as he picks up Lewis and throws him back into the ring. And applies a step over toe hold face lock on the Strangler. Ed Lewis is hurt as he backs him into the turnbuckle. And Lewis able to take control in the turnbuckle, raking the eyes of the champion. And backing him into the turnbuckle, or spinning him around in the turnbuckle. As they come out, Lewis is on the offensive here. And he takes Thesz down and applies a neck yoke. Thesz is hurt. And Lewis locks on those jackknife arm scissors again. And Thesz is dazed as Lewis is on the attack. A front chancery from the Strangler, Ed Lewis. And that hurts Thesz as he throws him to the mat with a grapevine. And Thesz able to wrestle his way out of that grapevine and take control of the fight, picking Lewis up for the airplane spin again. That's going to hurt him. And he just continues to spin him round and round. And he finally drops Lewis to the mat, but they're too close to the ropes and Lewis rolls out of the ring. And Lewis is getting back in the ring, and he locks up with Thesz on the apron and pulls Thesz out of the ring. Thesz falls out of the ring and strikes his knees on the floor hard. Thesz is in pain here. There's no padding, no mat, just concrete. And Thesz is rolling his count out here. Target is 3 rolls and 11. So Thesz is able to get back in the ring. But Strangler Ed Lewis is now in the driver's seat of this match. And he locks in the Strangler's headlock. This is a level 0 finisher, so the target is 4. The roll is a 5. So Thesz able to keep from submitting to that headlock, but Lewis is still on the attack. Lewis gonna throw Thesz from the ring. And now Thesz pulls Lewis out of the ring, continues to stomp him, just like he did before. The referee backs off this time, apparently gonna let it go. And Thesz stomps him a couple of times and then rolls back in the ring. Can Lewis get back in the ring before the referee counts him out? The target is 6, the roll is an 8. So Lewis is able to roll back in just in time, as Thesz continues his attack with a big release powerbomb. Thesz, it's either going to be a level 2 or a level 3 release powerbomb. It'll be a level 3 on power, which would make it a 6 or less. I think we're going to do it. It worked last time. Let's see if it works this time. So 6 or less. Roll of 7. So Lewis is able to backdrop out of the powerbomb and take control of the fight, locking on a jackknife arm scissors on Thesz. Thesz able to pull his arm free this time and taking control. He scoops Lewis up and spins him around with an airplane spin, dumping him down again too close to the ropes as Ed Lewis makes his way out of the ring. Lewis and Thesz are both outside the ring now as Thesz comes out to continue the attack here so that Lewis doesn't have time for the breather. And Thesz is floored by Ed Lewis with a big right hand right between the eyes. Thesz is in trouble here. The target is 5 on the count out. The roll is a 7, so he is not counted out. But now Thesz in trouble as Strangler Lewis rolls him back in the ring. Not going to throw him out again. Instead, he's going to jackknife arm scissors him. And that's going to hurt Thesz as he continues to wrench the jackknife arm scissors. And Thesz picked back up and grapevined and tossed to the mat as Lewis reapplies the jackknife arm scissors. And once again, picks him up, throws him to the mat, and Lewis in control here as he transitions into a double wrist lock. And Thesz now nowhere to go, center of the ring. Lewis is really wrenching that wrist lock. The target is 6, the roll is a 10, so Thesz does not submit as Strangler Ed Lewis continues his attack now, tossing Thesz from the ring again. Thesz is getting really, really frustrated. Grabs a chair from ringside, brings it into the ring, threatens to strike Lewis with it. The referee is upset that Thesz brought the chair into the ring, going to disqualify him for bringing the chair into the ring, even though he didn't even hit Ed Lewis with it. Thesz is protesting, but it looks like he is going to lose the second fall by disqualification to Strangler Ed Lewis. So we're on our break period now as both of these men return to their corners, and Thesz still yelling at the referee, still upset that he was disqualified. But it just goes to show that you cannot lose your temper in wrestling. You've got to keep it cool. You've got to keep it collected. As Lewis basically gifted that match. Lewis was working both Thesz and the crowd in the first fall. Yeah, he really came back now. They're even in fatigue tokens now. So Lewis definitely, that fall was definitely all about Strangler Ed Lewis. But yeah, Thesz, he shouldn't have grabbed the chair. All right, so they're both gonna be down a fatigue token here as we start fall number 3, the final fall, as they lock up. Oh, we're rolling 1 die for initiative this time. And Lewis takes it on the lockup. And Lewis sucker punches Thesz. Thesz is dazed. And now Lewis attempts a foot sweep, but Thesz is a little too agile for that and is able to avoid Lewis's attempt to sweep him down and take control of the match, throwing some drop kicks at Strangler Ed Lewis. Lewis is blasted with the drop kicks and is hurt as Thesz punches him squarely in the ribs. And those punches are going to connect hard as Lewis is doubled over. And Thesz grabs him up and slams him to the mat. Thesz hurts Lewis with that slam. And now, as Lewis gets back up, Thesz drives him back into the turnbuckle. And Lewis able to get a knee up in the gut of Thesz as they battle on the turnbuckle, and Lewis takes control. Lewis locks in the double wrist lock, and that's going to hurt Thesz. As now Lewis backs Thesz into the ropes, and Thesz able to turn it around, and he gets into an advantageous position here. Double underhooks on Ed Lewis, and he throws Lewis to the mat. As Thesz continues his attack here, backing Lewis into the turnbuckle. And Lewis and Thesz can't really do much there. The referee steps in, breaks him up. And Thesz moves in to continue his attack with a big punch to the ribs. And Thesz hurts Lewis and locks on that hammerlock. A level 3 move on rolls of 5 or less. So 5 or less here. And with a roll of 9, he is unsuccessful as Ed Lewis counters that hammerlock and takes control of the fight and backs Thesz into the ropes. And Thesz uses the ropes to trip up Ed Lewis here. And Thesz goes for the pin. The target is 6. The roll is a 4. And just like that, Ed Lewis has been defeated by Thesz with a quick roll-up as they battled along the ropes. So Ed Lewis has lost the match to Thesz. And Thesz beat Ed Lewis via fall count. Two falls to 1. And that's 9 fatigue tokens, so that would be a 4-star match, 4.5-star match. We'll put the results of the falls down here. So Thesz beat Ed Lewis via Greco-Roman backdrop. Ed Lewis beat Thesz via DQ when Thesz brought a chair into the ring. And then Thesz beat Ed Lewis via surprise. Hope I spelled surprise right. Pinfall and battling on the ropes. And now we have Thesz with 4 fatigue tokens. Lewis had 5 fatigue tokens, and that is that match. So there we go. That was the opening card, the inaugural card, the initial card, whatever you want to call it, of Ed Lewis's Bluegrass Wrestling. Um, it is the first and currently only competition for the National Wrestling Commission in my universe. It is the only territory or local fed, but I'm sure there'll be more coming in the future. That was something that I wanted to introduce this year, was the idea of kind of smaller territory type feds. If you remember, the NWA didn't really start till 1948, and we're in the early 40s, so this is a little earlier than that. We're not trying to follow wrestling history exactly, kind of rewriting things as we go. So, Ed Lewis, really the first local promoter or first non-national promoter since 1905. And Lewis doing pretty well in that match, coming back from a pretty gnarly first fall. And he did eventually lose, but he lost to the world's champion. So, I mean, you can't really argue with that. You were beaten by the best. You can't. Doesn't hurt to be beaten by the best, I guess. So yeah, that's all for me for today. Hopefully there'll be more next weekend, and I will see y'all then. Thank you for tuning in, and I will